If you're watching the stream, you see we have a special guest. He's Terry O'Malley, former Notre Dame president, 2003 to 2006, a teacher here at Notre Dame, three-time Olympian. I can't wait to get to that. And you trained Mandi while she was at Notre Dame, and you are good friends with the Schwartz family. What is this tournament and seeing this? What does it mean to you, Terry?
Well, Mandi was a terrific young lady. A top student, got into the Yale Bulldogs on the team. You don't get into those schools easily. Hardworking young lady, beautiful personality. The whole family was nice. Ryan and Jaden and Rick, God rest them. They've had some suffering in their family, as you all know, and Carol. So they had a nice young family, an athletic family. And I knew her. I didn't teach her. I was involved in administration at that time when in the president's office. But I used to have practices. I used to get up into the rink at 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to meet the students.
Yeah.
And I'd open it up. I'd get out at 6 in the morning, and she came every morning.
People really want to hear your stories. You got to hold it.
You got to hold it.
Mosh is going to hold it. Okay.
Mosh is going to be the mic holder. Love it.
Okay.
Because it's 6 in the morning.
I get up at 6 in the morning, and she never missed a practice. Jeez. Now she really had touch around the net. Wasn't the greatest skater in the world.
Doesn't matter.
But had a wide stance and good in front of the net, soft hands. We'd play one-on-one. Sometimes it'd be just myself and her in the morning at 6 in the morning. And I do skills with her, a little bit of shooting and things like that. And she was recovering from an injury. That's what she was doing. She had a knee injury, and so she came out at 6 in the morning to get a little more practice and a little more conditioning. And then we play goalposts. You hit the crossbar and goalpost.
Yeah.
And she beat me.
Yeah.
I'd back in and put her a little to the side, and she'd hit the post from just inside the blue line over by the boards, in the face-off circle. So finally I had to, in order to play her, I had to play her tighter.
For real?
Yeah. I had to get, challenge her so she couldn't get her shot away so easily. But she really had touch, really had determination. It was really a sad thing. We went through her demise there, with myeloid leukemia, and has done a wonderful thing. This tournament is named after her.
Yeah.
Back in 2014, I remember reading a story by a Brendan Turner, who went to Yale as well and started the foundation for marrow transplant.
Yep.
And they had in 2014, they'd saved 21 lives. With marrow transplant through the NHL and through the fan base that he knew in the NHL and the universities. In 2014, they'd saved 21 lives with marrow transplant.
It's amazing what you can do.
Yeah, now she had a transplant, but it was only a 60% match. And it didn't. It held for a little bit, and then it came out of remission, and that was it.
And Sharky, just mention it again that they're here.
It's so cool that Canadian Blood Services is here. They're doing the registration. All you got to do is you got to spend about 5 to 10 minutes with them. They'll register you. They take a swab, so they keep track of that information. And it's especially important if you're 17 to 35. That's a critical time to be involved, and that information is so helpful to families across the world, not just Saskatchewan or North America.
Oh yeah. Her legacy lives on in that. So it's a little bit of good out of adversity there.
That's right.
Real challenge.
It is great, and just to see this tournament and how it's growing and how many teams want to come play in it and all that. It's awesome. I find it fascinating. You played in 3 Olympics.
Yes, if I had better marks in high school, I would have played in 4. I was going to play in the 60 Olympics at Squaw Valley, it was.
Oh, yeah.
My marks were too lousy. I played junior hockey at St. Mike's in Toronto.
Yeah.
And the Bauer family, who I know very well, Kitchener-Waterloo, and Father David Bauer was my coach, and he's kind of a legendary character in
Big
Canadian
time.
hockey. And he was our coach, and he wanted me to go down to Squaw Valley and play, but the principal wouldn't let me go. So,
Now,
but I played 64, 68, and then they dropped out of international hockey, and then I went over to I went over to Japan for a while and played a little international hockey. Went for 2 and stayed for 7 years. Great experience. And then I came back and I was teaching here, and they had a couple of injuries. A guy named Reinhardt, his son now plays in the NHL.
He's pretty good.
He turned pro, and so they lost a defenseman, and then another guy broke his jaw, a guy named Joe Grant, in the 1980s. So they asked me to come out of retirement and play.
And that was Lake Placid.
That was Lake Placid, yes. So I played in Lake Placid.
Now, 64 was in
Innsbruck.
And 68 was in Grenoble, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
How's that?
Yes,
Look
pretty
at
good.
you.
Yeah.
Well, you were in high school.
A lot of
when
time.
those were on. Right? So you remember those days.
No, but I was alive, but not in high school.
Okay, obviously you guys won bronze in 68.
Yes, yes.
No slouch. Who'd you win or how'd you?
Well, we had to beat out. We were in actually the gold medal game against Russia, and if we'd won, we'd have won the gold. But they
Soviets.
really outplayed us that game.
Soviets were good.
Yeah,
what do
they were good.
you remember about Lake Placid? Like, you guys didn't medal there and all that, but it's such a historic time, especially for USA hockey. What do you remember about Lake Placid?
I remember the 93-foot goal that Finland scored against us. That knocked us out of the medal round.
Oh no!
We were tied 3-3 towards the end of the second period. We had a power play, and they iced it. And 2 players went. The defenseman was going right at the goalie, and the goalie was looking up, and their forward chased us. They chased him right down, very close, very hot pursuit, and the goalie panicked, and he swung over the puck and missed it. It went right between his legs. It went over the line by about 3/4 of an inch.
Yeah.
And that was the winning goal. We outshot them 17-3 in the third period, but couldn't score.
He doesn't get a Christmas card, does he? Goalie's off the list.
Oh, geez, I felt bad for him. He felt bad.
No. The Soviet Union. What was it? What was it like playing against them back then? Because they were an intimidating power.
Well, they were good. They trained 12 months of a year. I remember they had they had a guy named Maltsev who was a pretty good player.
Yeah.
But his first year, he was just 18 years old, and we used to throw him around a little bit like a rag doll. When he first came up, the next year he was like steel. He was just his whole physique.
They figured out to get him in shape, did they?
Oh, they trained him hard, and so they had good teams, and they used the ice well, and they had a number of superstars too. Remember, we played against a guy named Anatoly Firsov, who was a great hockey player. Had a great slap shot, great goal scorer, and we were playing him in Ottawa one time. And this guy got 6 goals by the end of the second period. And so the team benched him because they didn't want him to get a big head.
Yeah, 6 goals was enough.
6 goals was enough. They didn't want to get a big head. But they had great players, Starzhynov and
Did you face Tretiak?
Yes, in 80 I did.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I faced him in 69 too, 68, 69. Yeah,
Was he just lights out good?
He was good. Actually, I scored on him.
Yeah?
There you go.
I scored on him from the blue line.
Suck it, Vladislav.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my very few goals. Scored on Tretiak when he played for Russia.
Oh,
well, you can remember better than Ollie. Ollie can't remember who he scored on.
Yeah, Keith Ollie was on earlier.
No recollection.
He's trying to remember.
I got so few. I remember the good ones.
Well, this has been awesome. We appreciate you coming on. I'm sure we could tell stories here all night, and your kind words about Mandi Schwartz and what she meant, and just what this place means.
Yeah, well, It's an interesting Athol Murray. Interesting guy. I met him in 1963. I know the date exactly. It was November 22nd. Do you know what happened November 22nd?
John F. Kennedy was killed.
Yeah. And we were flying from Winnipeg, or from Calgary, to play the Saskatchewan All-Stars team. And we were so upset because Kennedy had been shot. We were in the Calgary airport. I remember exactly where I was.
Wow.
I was Marshall Johnston, who ended up, he was the manager of, he came in, and I was having a waz in the urinal, the can. It's so clear to my mind that day. And he said, "You realize that Kennedy got shot?" And I said, "No." I said, "Don't bullshit me." And he, it was true. We went into the airport. You know what airports are like. They're busy and they're active. There wasn't a sound in the airport. We had one television by the restaurant, and everyone was crowded around the restaurant watching this be reenacted with John F. Kennedy. So we were flying to Regina that night, and we were playing the All-Stars, and that's when I first met Athol Murray. I didn't know Athol Murray. Yeah. He came in, Athol Murray, he had the soul of a saint, but also the mind of a philosopher, but the vocabulary of a dock worker. So he comes into the dressing room, off goes the collar, all the stereotypes you know about Athol Murray, the stains on his shirt. And so you're the Canadian bastard. She says you're going to represent Canada. Well, that got our attention because we didn't know who he was.
Jeez.
And he gave the college, he had a check. Guys had gone around and collected pop cans and all that, and gave Bauer a check for $1,000. We didn't have two nickels to rub together. We went out.
Yeah.
We just went out as university students, went out to UBC to train. And so he came into the dressing room, gave us $1,000, and I noticed a tear coming down Father Bauer's cheek at the time. And I said to myself, there must be more to this story than meets the eye. So I made it when I was coming back to come and meet Father Murray. So I did. I came out and met him, and I remember I came out to meet him, and at that time I'd done my master's in Canadian history up to the thesis. I hadn't done my thesis yet. And he tells me a story, and it's on CBC. Telescope, this whole story. He told me the exact same story that you get on Telescope on CBC, that about his whole life. And I said, Athol Murray, I said, that's a great story. I think I've got to do my thesis. I'll see if I can. I'm doing my thesis. Yeah. I'm getting my thesis done. I'll see if I can get your story as part of my thesis. You do that? I said, yeah. He said, would you come here to teach? Well, at that time I was playing in Japan. I said, I'm under contract in Japan, but I'd give it consideration. We go out to lunch, okay, at the varsity just over here. And all the teachers are sitting in a row, and all the students are behind them. So it's like a T, and no one's paying attention. They're all into the, food was at a premium back then. So they were eating their soup and into their bread and whatever they had for lunch. And he goes and introduces me. I wanted to meet you. I want you to meet a great, great Canadian. There was Athol Murray, he's looking around, who's here? And then he says, and not only that, he says he's going to write the book on Notre Dame, and he's going to come here to teach. Well, all the teachers, it was as if someone slapped them on the head, just in unison. All their heads turned to look up. Who is this guy that's taking our job? Yeah, who's coming to Notre Dame? Yeah, well, it turned out it was true. I did all those things. I ended up writing a thesis on the college and coming here to teach.
Amazing.
Back in '78.
Amazing. We got to. We're up against news here. Great stories. Thank you so much for hopping on today and sharing.
Well, it's a great tournament, and a great person is named after. So
yeah,
give that bone marrow.
It
makes a difference
for sure.